Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is May 16th, 2025, and Barcelona could be receiving an advance payment in regards to the VIP seats, which could help Barcelona's financial fair play. Also, Nico Williams could be slipping away from Barcelona. And finally, Wojciech Szczesny is reportedly having doubts about renewing with Barcelona. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and welcome to the second attempt of making this live. As I was saying a few moments ago when I started the live, I wanted to make this video right before going to bed, but it's so late here. It's midnight, so I don't have time to film, edit, and post. So instead, I decided to do a live. I went live a couple of minutes ago. Something went terribly wrong. The live ended suddenly. So now this is the second attempt. Hopefully everything goes well. But let's start with the news because, ladies and gentlemen, today Barcelona officially became champions of the 2024-2025 La Liga season after defeating Espanyol 0-2 with an incredible goal by Lamine Yamal and a second goal by Fermín López, making this season a historic one because, as I said during the post-match live analysis, this season is historic not because we won La Liga, not because we won the Copa del Rey, not because we won the Spanish Super Cup, 3 trophies that Barcelona have won multiple times, but this season became a historic one because how Flick was able to transform a team that was in shambles last season into the best team in Europe in such a short period of time with no resources, no signings, no financial fair play. And he transformed this team into a team with a recognizable identity, an identity that this team stuck to no matter what happened, whether we were losing, we were down by 2 goals, or even if we were up by 5 goals, which made this team the most entertaining team to watch in all of the world. A team full of young, inexperienced players, a team that had to battle horrible refereeing. And yet, despite that, Flick will be closing the season with 3 trophies, again, making this season a historic one. And as I said a few moments ago, I did do the post-match live analysis. If you want to hear more thoughts and more of my thoughts and opinions about this match, please make sure to check out the post-match live analysis. Now, it is being reported that Barcelona are planning a Rua, which is, when they have the bus with the players, the trophies go through the city to celebrate. They're planning it for tomorrow, or I guess today, because it's already today in Barcelona. It is already May 16th. And it's reported that just like 2 seasons ago, the Rua will include the Barca Femini, because, of course, the Barcelona Femini already won their league. They're actually also in the final of the Copa de la Reina and in the final of the Women's Champions League. So the Barcelona Femini have a chance of winning a second treble, but I think it's the third treble or second treble. I can't remember, but another treble. But since the Barcelona Femini also became champions of the Women's League, it's reported that the Rua will include both the men and the women's team. So congratulations to our team. Congratulations to all of us Calais for this historic season and for this incredible win. Now, from one great news, we go to another great news because this guy, who you might not know who he is, I sure didn't know who he is before today. His name is Ruslan Birladeanu. We'll just call him Ruslan because I can't say his name, his last name. But Ruslan is the CEO of New Era Visionary Group. They're one of the investors that bought the rights to the VIP seats. If you might recall, during the end of last year, Barcelona sold the rights to the VIP seats to the new Spotify Camp Nou in order to be able to reach the 1-1 rule and register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. And well, one of the investors was New Era Visionary Group, who bought a total of 350 seats, and they had only paid 28 million euros, which is 40% of the total amount, with the remainder of the balance being paid in 2 installments, one installment in September and another installment being paid in 2026. Well, now it's being reported that New Era Visionary Group are planning to pay the installment that's due in September early because they've already sold most of the seats to customers, so they can pay that installment early, which means this could help Barcelona with their financial fair play and could potentially help Barcelona reach the 1-1 rule this summer, which of course would be that Barcelona would be able to make signings, and that's very important because, of course, Barcelona do plan on reinforcing the squad with the left wing and a fullback being the two main priorities. Now, of course, all of this will depend on whether the VIP seats are built on time because, as you know, La Liga decided not to count the VIP seats as part of income because they don't exist yet. So if they're built on time, and if then Barcelona will be able to reach the 1-1 rule, and with this advance payment from New Era Visionary Group, it would mean that Barcelona would be able to sign freely, which, of course, it's something that we all hope will happen. Now, I don't know, call me crazy, but doesn't this guy give you a vibe that he's offed a few people to get to where he is? I don't know. But anyways, speaking of signing, it's reported that Wojciech Szczesny could be having doubts about renewing his contract with Barcelona. Now, Szczesny a few days ago did announce in an interview that he did that Barcelona had offered him a 2-year contract, which at the time when I read his statements, I said, that's weird. As far as I know, it's a 1+1. Maybe that's what he meant. And well, that has been confirmed. It is indeed a 1+1 contract. So an extension 1 year with an optional 2nd year. But sources in Poland are stating that Wojciech Szczesny is kind of having doubts. He's not 100% sure whether he wants to renew with Barcelona or not. Of course, in his statements, he did say that he wants his wife to make this decision because, of course, he had already retired and then he had to come back from retirement to play for Barcelona. So, of course, he wanted to see what his wife had to think about this because I'm sure they already had plans of retirement. In fact, they had already moved to Marbella. They were mid-retirement, and then he goes, sorry, wifey, I'm actually going to go back to playing. So now, of course, he wants to consult that with his wife. So it's not 100% sure whether Wojciech Szczesny will renew or not, which, of course, could mean that Barcelona would have to go to the market to sign a goalkeeper because so far Barcelona had decided they weren't going to sign any goalkeepers, that Ter Stegen was going to be the number 1, Szczesny number 2, and, of course, Kochen, Jakubishvili, and maybe Iker Rodriguez would kind of fight it out for 3rd goalkeeper to see who would be the future 1st goalkeeper of Barcelona. So if Szczesny doesn't renew, Barcelona could be back in the race to sign a goalkeeper. Now, speaking of the summer transfer market, it's reported that Nico Williams could be slipping away from Barcelona. Now, as you know, Barcelona's they have 2 priorities for the market, a left winger and a fullback that can play on both sides, with one of the favorite options for Barcelona for the left wing is Nico Williams because his age, his ceiling, the fact that he gets along very well with many of the Barcelona players, including Lamine Yamal, and given that his release clause sits at 58 million euros. However, the player could be slipping away because Arsenal, Chelsea, and Bayern Munich have all already contacted the player's agent. They've already started talks with him, and it's reported that Arsenal are willing to pay the 15 million euro salary that Nico Williams was asking for in order to leave La Liga because Nico Williams prefers to stay in La Liga. But if he does get offered a 15 million euro salary, he would consider leaving, and these teams are already offering him now. So if Barcelona don't move quickly, Nico Williams could end up leaving to the Premier League or maybe even the Bundesliga, which of course would be a problem for Barcelona. And another problem is that Barcelona right now cannot make any moves until they figure out what their financial fair play will look like for the summer. Now, finally, we'll end this video with the news that Enrique Masibs has fired shots yet once again, this time aimed at Real Madrid and everything they've been doing through Real Madrid television. Now, this is what Enrique Masibs had to say, and I'll make this a little bit bigger. But Enrique Masibs said, oh, this screen just moved on me. Hold on. What is going on? I can't see you guys. I'm just having like one after another problem. There we go. The referees committee has always had links with Madrid, yet they have tried to tarnish our name with this case. Of course, talking about the Negreira case. There's been no match where we were favored, no influence on results, and even people from Madrid admit it. They put pressure on officials, and it got them results. Barca doesn't usually do this, but you can see the difference in how matches are handled. Even during the golden era of Xavi, Iniesta, and Messi, the pressure from others was obvious. VAR, once a useful tool, is now more of a problem. So Enrique Masibs is kind of getting sick and tired of the whole Negreira, because they try to say that Barcelona influenced the competition through Negreira, even though there's been a 2-year investigation that has revealed zero evidence of Barcelona bribing referees or Barcelona influenced the competition. And yet, referees most of them have always been Madridistas. The head of the CTA has all throughout history have always been Madridistas. The presidents of La Liga, most of history, have always been Madridistas. The presidents of the Royal Spanish Football Federation throughout history have mostly been Madridistas, and no one says anything. Then you have Real Madrid TV, video after video, week after week, going after referees, putting pressure on them, which it has worked because we've seen every week where Madrid have won, they have won with controversy. Every match that Barcelona have won or lost or tied, there's been controversy against Barcelona from the referees. So Real Madrid are actually influencing the competition through Real Madrid TV, and they've always influenced the competition by having everybody in power being a Madridista, but nobody says anything. But Negreira, even though there has been zero evidence of Negreira influencing anything, because after all, he was one of the many vice presidents of CTA, an honorary role where he didn't even get paid for it, where he had no power. But let's talk about Negreira and let's ignore everything else. Anyways, that is all the news for this short live that I decided to make right before going to bed. Again, we are officially champions. Congratulations to all of us. Tonight, I'm going to sleep really, really good thinking about how we are La Liga champions. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Peace, Barça.